Remember this wee story about a widower who is looking to finally remarry and seeks a partner, well, through questionable means. Well, it ends up all badly. Do you remember that story? Takashi Miike's Audition starts as a very decent drama, in my opinion. And yeah, it is a slow burn, but whilst it's a slow burn, it creates suspicion and dread, and we like it. By the way, welcome to Check That Book, a special place on YouTube where you and I get acquainted with some of the most unnerving, provocative, disturbing, or just downright epic content ever created. And today we are diving back into the disturbing. If you Google Takashi Miike's Audition, you will find it on most of the lists of top most disturbing movies ever made. And rightfully so, albeit again, it's a slow burn, so don't expect any hardcore action in the beginning. And as a matter of fact, it only has this one infamous scene towards the end of the film, and but that scene is strong enough to put it on this list. Beginning as a quiet drama, where a widower is encouraged to remarry, so he organizes a fake film audition to secretly choose a new partner, right? Among the applicants, he meets Asami, quiet, polite, and seemingly perfect. But this is where the deception begins. Both the novel and the film slowly build from realism into psychological horror. What starts as loneliness and romance turns into something far darker, a story about control, trauma, and the consequences of objectifying others. If you do not remember Ryu Murakami's Audition, yeah, that's the one I covered on my channel, the link will be in the description. The tone and the structure, again, they differ because the book is more psychological, which is usually the case, not always, but usually. And again, I'll never tire from saying this. Yes, introspective. Why am I still saying that? Because the books are usually more introspective. The key word is usually. Usually. So we're yet to find an adaptation which offers more introspection and focus on the psyche of characters. But there are some. And whilst the book focuses heavily on our protagonist's thoughts, grief, his emotional state, the horror is subtle in the book, but the film is very deceptive in its structure, I find. It deliberately feels like a kind of a romantic drama, actually. So when you pop this one in, I mean, if you look at the poster for this movie, yeah, it does look like a horror flick, but it doesn't feel like one. Not at all. It sharply shifts into horror more towards the end of the film. Now, most of my videos are unfortunately major spoilers. Spoilers in terms of, tonality of the books and films that I cover here, that I introduce you. My job is to introduce, not to downright spoil everything. I hope I don't, but I have to warn you because I know people who came out disappointed and even did not finish the film because they were expecting some hardcore Japanese horror. Well, you will be disappointed because it's not downright hardcore Japanese horror, well, balls to the walls kind of thing. There is the tonal shift, sure, and there are some shocking imagery, but they're not grotesque just for the sake of being grotesque there. They are there because they represent Asami's, the girl's, her obsession, the issues she has, specifically with our protagonist, and what she does there has a reasoning to it. And whilst she is a sick individual, there is I don't want to say method to her violence, but it kind of is. And people like that must be institutionalized. I'm sorry if I'm giggling. I'm not giggling because it's funny. I'm giggling because shit like this happens all the time. And not directly like in this movie with the torture and gore, but psychologically, people tend, unfortunately, to allow certain emotions to bloom in certain people, and at some point it's too late, you know, to stop. And, well, usually people become self-destructive. In Asami's case, well, she brings destruction upon our protagonist. The film, differing greatly from the book in this case, explores Asami's motivations. Her backstory is shown more directly through disturbing flashbacks, making her trauma and motives much clearer, and thusly also more unsettling. And whilst the book contains violence, but it's relatively brief and less graphically detailed, the film, in Takashi Miike's fashion, yes, amplifies the horror and uses visual shock, pacing, and sound to make the final act intensely disturbing, far more than the novel's depiction. Now, I'd say that emotionally, both the book and the film, they explore the similar themes of loneliness, specifically male loneliness and entitlement, and simultaneously the objectification of women. But I'll be honest, I watched a couple of reviews on this film, and some creators, content creators, authors claim that they see this objectification very clearly here. I beg to differ. I mean, I kind of see where they are coming from. Come on, you organize a fake audition where women come to, you know, supposedly get a role or something, right? It's deception. Sure, it's not a nice thing to do, but I trust me, there are far worse things one can do. So this, I would say, on the naughty scale, it's mildly naughty. Like, don't do that, dudes. Don't organize fake auditions just to find a wife. That's not nice. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, you're such a bastard, how dare you? Jesus, you need to be burned at the stake. You need a pike in your ass for this, you fucking bastard. No. This is not that level of a disturbing activity, if you know what I mean. Some things are looked upon weird, like, we exaggerate, but sometimes it's quite the opposite. This is the case where it's a bit exaggerated, but that's just my subjective opinion. Yes, it's not a nice thing to do, but that doesn't put our main character, the protagonist, in the antagonistic role, you know what I mean? Sure, that it's as a matter of fact, and the film shows it quite well, our main character, he the widower, he's not a bad guy. He's a loving father, and it is actually his son who encourages his dad to, you know, seek a partner and start dating again. He's not shown as someone negative. I mean, a human being who sometimes can make stupid decisions and make mistakes. Okay, we need to get into the disturbing moments of the film just to, you know, why? The book is disturbing, but not as much as the film. The film, yeah, it kicks it up a notch. Specifically with the bag scene, yeah. The sack on the floor. And what does the sack represent? And, yeah, what's in it? Who's in it, you know? And, of course, the torture scene at the end. It's the most disturbing sequence. And to me, it's because of Asami, the actress who plays Asami. She's so good in this one. She's so calm and collected. There's also the use of piano wire to mutilate the body. That's one of the most shocking images in the film. It's not just violent, it's slow and deliberate. Also, in the final act, reality becomes unclear. There's flashbacks, hallucinations, and trauma, and they all blend together, leaving the viewer unsure what's real. This psychological confusion adds another layer of horror, not just physical, but mental. What makes Audition truly unsettling is, I think, its structure. The film lulls the audience into comfort, presenting itself as a gentle romance before completely breaking that illusion. This betrayal of expectations creates a much stronger emotional impact than constant horror would. Now, would I say it is an adaptation well done? Yes. Yes, absolutely. The film being a bit more visceral and shocking and visually disturbing, of course, when it comes to a disturbing book versus a disturbing movie. But sometimes the books are more descriptive and disturbing, and your imagination does the job for you. Here, well, Takashi Miike, I applaud, because it's his fashion. If you know, you know. Google his works. He's extraordinaire in this regard. So, Audition remains, to date, as one of the most influential horror films ever made, not just in Asia, in the world. And not just because of how much it shows. It doesn't actually show much. It's because of how carefully this one is crafted. And it's like a predator, you know, ambushing you and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I thank you guys so much for watching this one. If you like unorthodox content, do consider giving this video a boost in the form of an erect thumb, and make sure to subscribe for more. Disturbing perfumery is on its way. I'm very eager. Wow, I just needed to calm my senses for a bit, because this is a really interesting subject, and the topic will be expansive on this channel. Just you wait. Take good care of yourselves and your loved ones, ladies and gents, and I shall see you all as soon as possible. Bye.